Hey YouTube, welcome to day 14 of the challenge. I made it. 14 days straight on YouTube. Thank all of you, each and every one of you, for watching, liking, sharing, all your support. I don't care if you watched one video. I don't care if you watched 14 videos. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'll talk a little bit more about, how this was for me at the very end, but I don't want to ramble too much for the people that just found this video and they really don't care about the challenge. So let's get to it. The one question I have received with regards to POD, both here on YouTube and also via email, is how do you figure out what sells where? And I've talked about this on, I think even during this challenge, I talked about that with Redbubble, what sells there. And I've mentioned how it does take work to sort of figure out what to sell on different platforms, because one design might do really well on one platform, but then not do well at all on another. And hopefully what this video will do, and what my other videos, like the one I did on Redbubble, hopefully they will help you at least get an idea of what sells, so you don't have to spend as much time as I did trying to figure all this out. Because to me, the most time consuming thing about POD is not creating the design or coming up with the idea. It's the keyword research, or the research in general, and then uploading a lot of things that don't sell as you try to figure out what works with each platform. And so as I discover things, I'll be happy to share them with you. So for example, Zazzle. I haven't talked much about Zazzle because Zazzle has not been a program that I've done that well with. Zazzle was one of the first POD websites that I started with, actually in 2011, but I was driving traffic to the store. I didn't start trying to do the organic thing until a little bit later, and I found it very, very difficult. But after going to meetups, and let me tell you guys, going to different meetups in your city and talking to other people, face to face, and not just doing the online thing and groups and forums, it's so helpful. And I know for me, what I've always heard about Zazzle is that it's really great for women's designs, designs targeted toward women, babies, mugs. I know a lady here that does really, really, really well with mugs on Zazzle, but I never really took the time to learn Zazzle, and I was focusing so much on Spreadshirt, merch, all the others, and I would get a check here and there, but I was like, okay, nothing is really happening here until 2018 Q4. So I logged in recently and checked my account, and I was like, whoa, $368, look at me. Now, mind you, this is not in a month. I have my account set to where I only get a check after I receive a certain amount. Sometimes I do that to motivate myself to set a goal. I don't know if that's really worked that well with Zazzle, but I will say in Q4, I sold some different things and I started to see some things that were working. And for me, that was invitations. And I know this is nothing new. People have been telling me this for a long time. People like to buy customizable invitations and paper products on Zazzle. Those have always been big. And even if you go to their website, you will notice that invitations and cards is the very first link. This is something else I want to point out. If you guys notice, if you look at the home pages of these POD sites, these are set up very deliberately and strategic about how they have them set up. It's not a coincidence that you always see Zazzle featuring their paper products on the homepage, because that's what sells. And you see the same with Spreadshirt, as you'll see in just a second. So paying attention to what they highlight is very, very important. And people have told me for years that invitations and cards do really well. So last year, I set up some niche invitations in Illustrator. You don't have to use Illustrator, you can use whatever. But basically I set up a template. And one of the reasons that Zazzle's invitations and cards do well is that people can customize them. People love to customize the products on Zazzle. So let's go to one of their pages here. This is the wedding invitation page. I created something like this with just images around the border. And I put some text in the middle, but I added the text on Zazzle. Zazzle has an option when you upload an image, you can add text placeholders so the customer can customize the text. So I designed the template, and so when I uploaded it to Zazzle, it was blank. But then I added the text inside Zazzle. That's where the customer can then customize the text. Let's say you're doing a Valentine's Day baby shower. So you're targeting people who are having baby showers around Valentine's Day or in February. So it might say a new love is on the way, and you have hearts all over the place. So that might be what the template looks like. And so you're targeting baby shower and Valentine's Day or something like that, or baby shower invitation with hearts on it. And so this year, I'm going to spend a lot more time working on some more templates because I have a whole lot of ideas for what I want to do. Paper products do very, very, very well on Zazzle, and I'm starting to see a little upward trend. I just want to be a little bit more consistent and hopefully can get some more sales throughout the year because I tend to do best with the holidays because that's really what I was focusing on. Customizable products in general do well on Zazzle. Mugs, all kinds of different products. The other tip I wanted to mention, don't forget that a lot of these sites have their own groups and forums. Zazzle has a very, very active forum. There are a lot of different discussions on here that can be very helpful to help you learn about the platform. And then when you post questions, you'll have seasoned users and designers that'll be more than willing to help. Redbubble also has their own little internal group. So it's a great place to go if you're trying to learn the platform, especially if you're focusing on one platform at the moment. Now, let's talk about Spreadshirt. If you missed or didn't watch all of my video where I talked about my merch earnings in October, I think it was 2018, I inserted a Spreadshirt tip kind of like in the middle of that video. And if you didn't watch the whole thing, you might have missed it. Once again, the home page tells you so much. The very first thing you see when you go to this page is the word create. Why? Again, this is very intentional. I spoke to a Spreadshirt employee last year and she told me that this is what most of their customers do. So they come here rather than searching for a particular shirt, they come here to make their own shirt. So they search the designs that we create in the marketplace and they add their text to our designs. So this guy that's been here, it seems like this has been up for forever. But this is what a lot of their customers like to do. They find a design like this, let's just say a half snowflake, and then they add their own text on top of it. And this is how a lot of people operate on Spreadshirt. They do customize their shirts a lot. So Zazzle and Spreadshirt both get a lot of customization orders, meaning the customers want to make their own shirts or products. And I don't think a lot of people know that about Spreadshirt. So if you're coming up with ideas for your designs, especially if it's for a holiday, think of ways you can design something for a holiday and leave some room for a customer to add their text, just like this snowflake design. So this would have been a good shirt for winter. Somebody can add whatever they want here. So just keep that in mind when you're designing. And I've given this tip 8,000 times, but at the very, very bottom of Spreadshirt, I always like to look and see what's hot. Because again, they put these keywords here for a reason because this is what's selling right now. Seasonal things tend to do pretty well, at least for me on Spreadshirt. And Spreadshirt and Merch for Me are the two PODs where I sell the widest variety of designs. With Redbubble and Zazzle just recently because I haven't really been doing much with Zazzle up until Q4. But those types of sites, for me, I tend to do better with a certain type of art or design or keyword, for example, like baby shower, or invitation. But for Spreadshirt and Merch for Me, this is where I sell the widest variety of stuff organically. Not driving traffic, through a site or anything. I mean, organically. And that's just me. I'm not saying that that's for everybody. But yes, finding what works with these different sites, it is a lot of trial and error, and it does take a lot of time. And as I said earlier, I think that's why a lot of people don't like print on demand when you're doing it organically because it takes a long time to figure out what works. But you guys remember, I've been gone for like 2 years for the most part on YouTube. Once I got into merch and started making money, I was like, I got to focus on this stuff because this is going to be big. And so one of the reasons you haven't seen me a lot is I've been in the background learning more about Photoshop, Illustrator. So I've spent a lot of time learning this business. It's not like I just woke up and started having success with this, but because I'm an entrepreneur and I can choose, what I want to work on, I did take the time at the end of 2016 to say, I'm going to put my To Create brand on hold for a while. I really want to focus on this. And I'm glad I did because I gained gained some new skills. I made some extra money. And it's kind of nice to do something different as well. But yes, it does take time to figure out what sells. But hopefully these videos will at least help you to sort of narrow down and try to focus on one strategy for these various sites. And maybe you won't take as long to figure out what sells as I did. So good luck, you guys. Thank you so much for watching my 14-day challenge. I said this earlier, but this has been much more intensive in terms of labor than I ever thought. And not just from doing the actual work and the editing, but the mental part surprised me. I found myself not really able to turn it off at night. So as soon as I would get done with a video, I would think, oh, I should have said this, or maybe I should have said that. Now tomorrow, I might need to change what I'm going to say, or let me change the topic of this video. So it's just been hard to turn my brain off for 14 days. So I'm really looking forward to this break, but I am going to come back in a few days just to share with you what improved, what I learned, and all that stuff from doing this challenge. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.